Hello, I'm Mrs. Jansen, and today for our art, we're going to create a saguaro cactus. We can think of the saguaro as a giant in the desert. This cactus provides food and shelter for different creatures. Here you see birds feeding on the nectar of the flowers. Our vocabulary today focuses on parts of a picture. Foreground is the part of the picture that appears closest to the viewer. Remember, the viewer is the person that's looking at the picture. The background is the part of the picture plane that seems farthest from the viewer. This is usually at the top of the picture. The middle ground is the area in the picture between the foreground and the background. Our last vocabulary word today is space. Space is the element of art that refers to the emptiness or area between, around, above, below, or within objects. So let's look at this photograph. In the foreground, we see the Joshua tree. Remember, the foreground is closest to the viewer and is usually at the bottom of the picture. In the middle ground, we see the sand and the rock formation. In the background, we see the sky. We can definitely notice the space we see in between objects, above, below, or even within. Let's look at this photograph. What do you notice in the foreground? I hope you've said the sneakers. They appear larger because they're closer to you, the viewer. What do you notice in the middle ground? I hope you've said the person on the sidewalk. You may have also said the trees, the lamppost, and the house. In the background, we see the sky. So now we're ready to create our art, and I'm going to ask you to have your pencil and paper ready, and you'll be using crayons later. You're going to see the screen change so that we can draw together. So here we have our paper, and we're going to be creating our art today, portrait style. Remember, that means that our paper is vertical, the tall way, or up and down. The first thing we're going to do is go to the bottom of our paper. And we're going to create that curved line that starts at the bottom left, goes up in the center, and goes down to the bottom right. Now, even though we've all drawn this one curved line, remember, we all make art in our own way. We all have our own art fingerprint, and no one's curved line looks exactly the same. That's one of the great things about art. We all make it differently. All right, so let's go on top of this. We're going to call it a rolling hill of sand. And we're going to draw the main part of the saguaro. We're going to start with a vertical line that goes up. At the top, it's going to change to a curved line like a rainbow, and then a vertical line that goes down. Now we noticed that the arms of the saguaro were asymmetrical. That means they were different on both sides. So I'm going to start this one arm with a curved line like a smile. It changes at the top to a rainbow, and then it curves back to the main part of the cactus. I want this one to look different, so I'm going to start this lower, that curved line like a smile, and I'm going to make this arm larger. Remember, the curve changes to the curve of a rainbow at the top, and then it goes back to the main part of the cactus. So now that I've got the cactus drawn, I'm going to add more sand. This time I'm going to go to the edge of the cactus, and I'm going to draw a curved line that first goes out and then up and down again to the edge of the paper. And now I'm going to go on this side, this curved line, and then it goes up and out to the edge of the paper. So let's think about the sand. It's a rolling hill of sand, and the reason is the wind in the desert moves the sand. So in the background, we're going to use what's called concentric circles. Those are circles that share the same center. So you can choose where you place your first circle. I'm going to place a circle here. You don't have to draw your circle exactly like me, and you don't have to draw it in the same place. And now I'm going to think about this circle as a circle you'd see in nature. Some of us will make a connection with the sun. It does not have to be a perfect geometric circle. It's an organic circle. It's a circle we see in nature. So now we're going to draw another circle around it, and as I draw, I'm going to think about the space between the line I'm drawing and the line I drew before it. So because you've drawn a different circle, and you may have placed your circle in a different area, the background for your art is going to look different. So every time I draw another circle, I'm going to be thinking about the space as I draw around the circle before it. And as I draw, if I come to something I've already drawn, I remember to pick up my pencil. Now you're going to notice in this case, the circle goes off the page. So I'm going to lift up my pencil and put it down where I think the circle would continue. We're going to fill the whole background with circles. So now that I've come to the cactus, I'm going to follow along the cactus with my finger and place the line on the other side. So now I've used the entire background on this side, but I still have room on this side, and I think I'm going to add just one more curved line. So now I've got the cactus drawn, the rolling hills of sand drawn, and the background. So the next thing I'm going to do is go inside the cactus, and about a finger space apart, I'm going to add vertical lines. So depending on the width of your cactus, you might be adding more lines, or maybe you add less. You have to make the choice that's best for you and your artwork. Let's go in the arms of the cactus and add curved lines. And we need that space in between because we're going to be adding different lines and shapes to create patterns. Let's go in this arm of the cactus and add a curved line with another one next to it. Now remember, you have to look at your artwork as you draw and decide what works best for your artwork so it doesn't have to look exactly like mine does. Let's go to these rolling hills of sand. So we're going to go underneath each one and about a finger space away. We're going to follow the line above it. And now we're going to think about these spaces as sections. Now, because we've all drawn this differently, we're going to have different amounts of lines in the hills. When you get to the center, you can decide if you want to add another curved line or make that a larger section. So let's go to the sand on the side. This time, instead of starting at the cactus, we're actually going to start at the edge of the paper. We're going to draw that curved line that follows the line above it, and it's going to end at the top of the hill of sand in front. Let's start at the edge of the paper again, a curved line that ends at the top of the hill. Go to the edge of the paper, curved line, and stop at the top of the hill. Now we're going to go on this side. We're going to start at the edge of the paper, and we're going to follow the line that we've already drawn, and this one can go to the cactus. Now we're going to go underneath this one with a curved line. This one goes to the top of the hill. Start at the edge of the paper, a curved line that ends at the top of the hill. So now we've drawn our cactus, we've drawn concentric circles, and I'm going to go back and show you some different examples. So this example shows a lot of different lines and shapes that are repeated to create patterns. After you've drawn the lines, you can go over the lines that you've drawn with crayon and add colors of your choice. And here we see more student examples. Notice all the different ideas that these students had. There's some very interesting lines and shapes. Some of these students decided to color in some of the shapes. And there's a lot of different decisions made with color choices. I hope you enjoyed making our artwork today. And I hope you have fun adding different lines, shapes, and patterns to your artwork. I hope you enjoy adding colors. And when you're adding color to the sand, remember that you don't have to use just one color. You might consider blending. You might use one color on top of another. I look forward to making art with you again soon.